Hello everyone, today we are going to go over which is the best Anime Dimension starter character. This video will determine the best starter character for both damage and raids and dimension completion times. Also note, I have allowed myself to use assist characters and pets, but only at the final boss of a dimension or in raids. First up we have Goku. I'm going to be honest for a minute, in my opinion, Goku is the worst one. Like, before we get into the facts, I'm just gonna say he's the worst. He has little to no AoE, and one of his attacks locks him in place without iframes. I'd say Goku has more trouble taking down bosses compared to the rest of the starter characters. But here we got Goku, as expected, finishing a dungeon in 7 minutes and 38 seconds. Let that sink in. This is about the same amount of time as it takes for a raid to complete. Okay, do you know what? Maybe Goku isn't a complete loss, though. Maybe he's just better in raids. Let's see his damage real quick. Oh. 2.17 billion damage. That is pretty bad for a starter character. I think we also have nothing to go off of, so you know what? We'll just get into the other characters. We'll see what they do, and then we'll determine if he's that bad. Next up, we have Ichigo, my personal favorite starter. Ichigo has a much better time in Dimensions compared to Goku. It took a lot less time to beat a boss and was able to do much better against smaller mobs since Ichigo has more AoE damage. Here we can see Ichigo had beat the dungeon in 5 minutes and 12 seconds. Ichigo should have a somewhat easy time in raid since he has somewhat good AoE and none of his moves lock him in place. We can see here Ichigo did 2.61 billion damage, quite the improvement from Goku. Next, we are moving on to Luffy. Now, before we get into the actual facts here, he seems to be better in raids than anything, since he has a lot of single-hit moves that will be excellent with a lot of crit and crit damage, which I happen to have a good bit of. Here we can see Luffy completed the dungeon in 5 minutes and 38 seconds. This is slightly slower than Ichigo since Luffy has less AoE and needs to rely more on grouping up all of the enemies and dealing damage in one spot. Now let's get into Luffy's raid damage. We can see that Luffy did 2.18 billion damage, which is only ever so slightly above Goku, which is very surprising for me because I thought he would have did much better, but I guess I was wrong there. Anyway, we are getting into our last and final starter character, Naruto. Naruto has really good times for dungeon at 4 minutes and 52 seconds, about 40 seconds quicker than Ichigo, by the way. Now let's move on to his raid damage. Naruto did 2.57 million damage in raids, which is the amount I expected to say the least. So with this, let's go into the final results. The starter with the quickest dimension time seems to be Naruto, with Ichigo in second and Luffy in third. The starter with the most raid damage is Ichigo, with Naruto in second and Luffy in third. With this, we can determine the best overall starter character, in my opinion, is gotta be Naruto, since he has very similar damage and raids to Ichigo, but his dimension time is a lot shorter. We can also very easily all agree that Goku's the worst starter character. I'm sorry, Goku, but the lowest raid damage and lowest dungeon times. Yeah, man, I'm sorry, Goku. We aren't including Deku in this video because he was recently made unobtainable, so he's completely irrelevant. Anyway, guys, have a great day. I'll see you in the next video. Make sure to like and subscribe.